What is going on, guys? Theodore Hodel here again, and happy Halloween. And today, I'm going to be reading not one, not two, but four creepypastas. Oh boy. Here are the creepypastas I'm going to be reading. Abandoned by Disney, Channel Zero, Candle Cove, and to wrap it all off, for all of you hardcore fans who are probably no one, you know that on Halloween I tried to read this creepypasta, but I just couldn't get into it. To wrap it all up, I'm going to be reading Ben Drowned. So let's get started with Abandoned by Disney. Some of you may... Okay, first off, I'm going by the slimebeast.com forum. So I don't know if this is legit or just like I don't know. Some of you may have heard that the Disney Corporation is responsible for at least one real, quote-unquote, ghost town. Disney built the Treasure Island Resort in Baker's Bay in the Bahamas. It didn't start as a ghost town. Disney's cruise ships would actually stop at the resort and leave tourists there to relax in luxury. This is a fact. Look it up. Disney blew $30 million on the place. Yes, $30 million. Then they abandoned it. Disney blamed the shallow waters, too shallow for their ships to safely operate. And there was even blame cast on the workers, saying that since they were from the Bahamas, they were too lazy to work a regular schedule. What? I'm gonna have to put the microphone to my mouth a little closer because my dog Pippa is barking a lot because it's obviously they're trick or treating. Okay, where was I? Okay, that's where the factual nature of their story ends. It wasn't because of sand. It obviously wasn't because foreigners are lazy. Both are convenient excuses. No, I sincerely doubt those reasons were legitimate. Why don't I buy the official story? Because of Mowgli's place. Near the beach side of Emerald Isle in North Carolina, Disney began construction of Mowgli's place in the late 1990s. The concept was a jungle-themed resort with a large, you guessed it, palace in the center of the whole thing. If you're unfamiliar with the character Mowgli, then you might better remember the story, The Jungle Book. If you haven't seen it anywhere else, you know it as a Disney cartoon from decades past. Mowgli is an abandoned child in the jungle, essentially raised by animals simultaneously threatened, pursued by other animals. Mowgli's place was a controversial undertaking from the start. Disney bought up a ton of high-priced land for the project, and there was actually a scandal surrounding some of the purchases. The local government claimed eminent domain on people's homes, then turned around and sold the properties to Disney. At one point, a home that had just been constructed was immediately condemned with little to no explanation. The land grabbed by the government was supposedly for some fictional highway project. Knowing full well what was going on, people started calling it Mickey Mouse Highway. Okay, no joke, guys. I'm just going off on a tangent. Every time I hear that title, this is actually the first time, but hearing Mickey Mouse Highway, I think of the Disney Junior show It's Mickey and the Roadster Racers, right, Mom? The one where Mickey and his friends are racers. That's Mickey and the Roadster Racers, right? Okay, because literally, people apparently in this creepypasta, people started calling the fictional highway project Mickey Mouse Highway. Imagine that on Mickey and the Roadster Racers. Okay, where was I? Then there was the concept art. A group of stuffed shirts from Disney Co. actually held a city meeting. They intended to sell everyone on how lucrative this project was going to be for everyone. When they show, okay, this is actually since this is the second creepypasta I've done, I found another. Uh, just a minute, guys. I'm gonna have to mute a chat room because that's driving me bonkers. That doesn't take much. Okay, so let's go for 8 hours because I don't know. Obviously, this isn't gonna last 8 hours, but anyway, as I was saying, I found like obviously a small uh spelling error. They said when they showed the concept. I think that's first the in that sentence was supposed to be when they showed the concept are the gigantic Indian. Okay, wow, another spelling error. It says palance. It's supposed to be palace. Okay. When they showed the concept art, this gigantic Indian palace surrounded by jungle, staffed with men and women in loincloths and tribal gear. Well, suffice to say, everyone flipped their mom. There's a swear word. The other word for crap. Can I say it? Okay. Well, suffice to say, everyone flipped their shit. We're talking about a large Indian palace, jungle, and loincloths, not only in the center of a relatively wealthy area, but also a somewhat xenophobic area of the southern USA. It was a questionable mix at that point in history. Okay, I'm going to be temporarily bringing back phobia discussions, which was an early series I wanted to do. Xenophobe, a xenophobe is the fear of foreigners, I think. Right, Mom? Mom, xenophobe means the fear of foreigners, right? Xenophobia? Okay. One member of the crowd tried to storm the stage, but he was quickly subdued by security after he managed to break one of the presentation boards over his knee. Jeez. Disney took that community and essentially broke it over its knee as well. The houses were razed, that's spelled with a Z. The land was cleared, and there wasn't. Boy. Can I just say all the swear words that are in this so I don't have to like. Can I just say the swear words that are in the creepypastas? Okay. It's just gonna drive me insane. And there was a damned thing anyone could do or say about it. Local TV and newspapers were against the resort at the beginning, but some insane connection between Disney's media holdings and the local venues came into play, and their opinions turned on a dime. So anyway, Treasure Island, the Bahamas. Disney sunk those millions in and then split. The same thing happened with Mowgli's Palace. Construction was complete. Visitors actually stayed at the resort. The surrounding communities were flooded with traffic, and the usual annoyances associated with an influx of lost and irate tourists. Okay. Then it all just stopped. Disney shut it down, and nobody knew what the hell to think. But they were pretty happy about it. Disney's loss was pretty hilarious and wonderful to a large group of folks who didn't want this in the first place. I honestly didn't give the place another thought since hearing it closed over a decade ago. I live maybe 4 hours from Emerald Isle. So really I only heard the rumblings and didn't experience any of it firsthand. And I read this article from someone who had explored the Treasure Island Resort and posted a whole blog about all the crazy shit he found there. Stuff just left behind. Things smashed, defaced, probably ruined by the disgruntled former employees who had lost their jobs. Hell, the locals from all around probably had a hand in wrecking that place. People there felt just as angry about Treasure Island as folks here did about Mowgli's Palace. Plus, there were rumors that Disney had released their aquarium stock into the local waters when they closed when they closed, including sharks. Jeez. I'm glad this isn't real and oh boy. Who wouldn't want to take a few swings at some merchandise after that? Well, what I'm getting at is that this blog about Treasure Island got me thinking. Even though many years had passed since its closing, I figured it might be cool to do some quote unquote urban exploration at Mowgli's Palace. Take some photos, write about my experience, and probably see if there was anything I could take home as a memento. I'm going to say I wasted no time in getting there. Because honestly, it took me another year after I first found that Treasure Island article to get around to going to Emerald Isle. Over the course of that year, I did a lot of research on the Palace Resort, or rather, I tried. Naturally, no official Disney site or resource made any mention of the place that had been scrubbed clean. Even odder, however, was that nobody before myself had apparently thought to blog about the place or even post a photo. None of the local TV or newspaper sites had one word about the place. Though that was to be expected since they had all swung Disney's way. They wouldn't be out there lauding their embarrassment, you know? Recently, I learned that corporations can actually ask Google, for example, to remove links from search results, basically for no good reason. Looking back, it's probably not that nobody spoke of the resort, but rather their words were made inaccessible. So in the end, I could barely find the place. All I had to go on was an old as hell map I received in the mail back in the 90s. It was a promotional item sent out to people who had recently been to Disney World, and I guess since I had been there in the late 80s, that was quote unquote recent. I didn't really intend to hang on to it. It just got shoved in with my books and comments from my childhood. I'd only remembered it months into my research, and even then, it took me another few weeks to locate the storage bin my parents had shoved it all into. But I did find it. Locals were no help, as much as most were transplants, okay, who had moved to the beach in recent years, or old residents who had just sneered at me and made rude gestures the second I managed to say, "Where would I find Mowgli's?" The drive took me through an inordinate. Wait, what? Hey, mom, can you tell me here for a minute, please? That's what does that say? Inordinately. Okay, what she said. Thank you. Inordinately. Hey, I resent that remark. Sheesh. Long corridor to overgrowth. Tropical plants had run rampant and overpopulated the area mixed with the native species of flora that actually belonged there and had tried to reclaim the land. I was in awe. when I reached the front gates of the resort. Tremendous, monolithic wooden gates whose supports to either side looked like they must have been cut from giant sequoias. The gate itself had been gouged in several places by woodpeckers and eaten away at the base by burrowing insects. Hanging on the gate was a sheet of metal, some random scrap, with painted letters scrawled in black. Abandoned by Disney. Time for a reference to CinemaSins and TokuSins. Roll credits. Clearly the handiwork of some past local or an employee who wanted to make some small protest. Okay, at the end of each creepypasta, if anybody has commented, I am going to be reading their comments. So that's why I'm stopping a lot. Also, so I could like scroll down. The gates were open enough to walk through, but not drive. So grabbing my digital camera and the map, whose flip side showed a layout of the resort, I set off on foot. The inner grounds of the place were just as overgrown as the entryway. Palm trees stood untended and ragged on piles of their own coconuts. Banana plants similarly stood in their own stinking, bug-riddled refuse. That's just okay then. There was still there was this sort of clash between order and chaos. As caref- as carefully planted rows of perennial flowers mixed with obnoxious tall weeds and stinking blackened mushrooms. Okay. All that remained of any outdoor. Okay. Where was I? Outdoors. All that. All that remained of any outdoor structure were broken, rotting wood and various charred bits of unidentifiable material. What was most likely in an information booth or an outdoor bar was now simply a pile of assorted debris. I think that's supposed to be debris. Yeah, because it made sense because D is close to S. Assorted debris chopped up by past vandalism and ravaged by weather. The most interesting thing on the ground was a statue of Baloo, the friendly bear from the Jungle Book, which stood in a sort of courtyard in front of the main building. He was frozen and a jovial wave toward no one, staring into empty space with a silly, toothy grin. As as bird shit covered whole swaths of his fur. Okay, that's quite an image to think of. And vines ensnared his platform. I approached the main building, the palace, only to find the outside of the building covered in graffiti where the original paint had peeled and chipped away. The front doors weren't just open, they had been taken off their hinges and were stolen. Okay, why would someone steal doors? I mean, if you think about it, a palace has huge doors. Usually. And why would someone take them off go the extra mile to take them off the hinges and steal them? Okay, I know this is the critic in me, but that doesn't make sense. I mean, the rest of the story is getting pretty good. A lot of suspense. Unlike with Sonic.exe. Though Sonic.exe, okay, I should wait till. Mom, there's a little boy. Sorry. Above the front doors, or the gaping maw there they had been, someone had once again painted "Abandoned by Disney." Roll credits. Okay, I'll just stop with the roll credits as it's getting annoying even for me. I wish I could tell you about the. I wish I could tell you about all the awesome stuff I saw inside the palace. Forgotten statues, abandoned cash register. Whoop, that was a mistake. I did not mean to do that. A full-fledged secret society of homeless bums, but no. Inside of the building was so stark, so bare, that I actually think people had stolen the molding off the walls. Anything that was too big to steal, counters, desks, giant fake trees, they were all resting amid this empty echo chamber that amplified my every step like a slow rat-a-tat of a machine gun. I checked the floor plan and headed to all the locations that might seem in any way interesting. The kitchen was as you'd imagine an industrial food prep area with all the appliances in space, no expenses spared. Every glass surface was broken. Every door knocked off its hinges. Every metal surface kicked and dented. The entire place smelled like very old piss. Again, that's quite an image to imagine, which I like actually. The huge freezer, not even remotely cool now, had row upon row of empty shelf space. Hooks from the ceiling, probably for wait, hooks hung from the ceiling, probably not for oh my god, hooks hung from the ceiling, probably for hanging cuts of meat. And as I stood inside for a moment, oh god, another typo is it says momenty. Yes, that's a word. I noticed they were swinging. Each hook swung in a random direction, but their movements were so slow and so small and so slow and small that it was almost impossible to see. I figured it had been caused by my footsteps, so I stopped one of them from swinging by clutching it with my fist, then carefully letting go. But within seconds, it started to swing once more. Hell dear, the public bathrooms were in much of the same state as the rest of the place. Just like the Treasure Island Resort, someone had methodically smashed each porcelain commode with coconuts and other implements. There was about a half an inch of rancid, stinking, stagnant water on the floor, so I didn't stay there very long. Okay, I thought it was going to be something worse. No comment. What's odd? What? Okay, it was one of my friends. Sorry, guys. I don't think he's gonna be messaging me a lot. Uh, what's odd is that the toilets and the sinks and the bidets in the ladies' room. Yes, I went there. All dripped, leaking, or just ran freely. It seems to me that they they should have shut the water off long ago. Long ago. There was plenty of rooms in the resort, but naturally, I didn't have time to look through them all. The few I did peer into were similarly wrecked, and I didn't expect to find anything there. I thought there was actually a television, or I thought I heard something. Um, anyway, the few I did peer into were similarly wrecked, and I didn't expect to find anything there. I thought there was actually a television or a radio in one room, as I really think I heard a quiet conversation coming out. Though it was like a whisper, probably my own breathing echoing in the silence, or just another case of the sound of flowing water playing tricks on the mind. This is what it sounded like. Okay, so um, there are two characters, one and two. Now I'm just gonna go by them. I didn't believe it. Short, unknown reply. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Your father told you. Unknown reply, or possibly just weeping. Yeah, I hear someone. Oh, it's dead. Say trick or treat. Hey, Charlie. Cool. I know. That sounds ridiculous. I'm just telling you what I experienced. What I thought there might have been something running in that room, or worse, some vagrants who had holed up there and probably wouldn't knife Chris give him. Chris, just what it does. He's just gonna put it in a bigger bag. Later. What's going on? He's dropping it, so I'm trying to put it in a different bag. And we'll get more, but he won't let me take it out. Charlie, get that out of your mouth. Hey, Chris, you want to go get more? Okay, sorry, guys. Or worse, some vagrants who had holed up there and probably would have knifed me. Okay, the correct term is actually shanked. Just saying. At the front doors of the palace again, I figured I hadn't found anything of note and had wasted the trip up. As I looked out the door, I noticed something interesting in the courtyard that I had apparently missed. Something that would have given me at least one thing to show for all my trouble. Even if it was just... Yeah, I noticed it, Dad. I am... Charlie, get that out of your mouth. Or even if it was just a photograph. There was a lifelike statue of a python, maybe... Oh, God, that's quite a... Okay, just a minute, guys. I gotta show this. Hey, Mom. Sorry. I want to read this to both of you because this is quite an image to imagine. Ready? Do you want to get more candy? You want to get some candy for me? Go get Mommy for candy. It's the only way. Okay, there's this one phrase that is quite imagine. There was a lifelike statue of a python, maybe 50 feet long. My mom is afraid of snakes. And by afraid, I mean deathly. Coiled up and sunning itself on a pedestal right in the center of the area. It was almost time for the sun to start setting, so the light fell onto the object in the perfect way for a photo. Sorry. I approached the python and snapped... great. I approached the python and snapped a photo. Then I stood on my toes and snapped together. I moved closer to get the detail of its face. Slowly, casually, the python lifted its head and looked directly into my eyes, turned, and slithered off the pedestal, across the grass and into the trees. Mom. Hey, it's a little skull. Sorry. All 50 feet of it. Its head long disappeared into the woods before its tail even left the sunning spot. Disney had released all their exotic animals onto the grounds. Right there on my floor plan was the reptile house. I should have known. I'd read about the sharks at Treasure Isle. Okay. First off, it's Treasure Island. I'm just saying, if the author does watch this, You have to keep it consistent. You have to, like, I'm not asking for perfection, that's near impossible. But you have to say Treasure Island or Treasure Isle. I'm going to call it Island because that's what it says at first. I read about the sharks at Treasure Island, and I should have known they'd done this. I was dumbfounded, just utterly stupefied. My mouth must have been hanging open for the longest time before I came back to Earth and snapped it shut. I blinked a few times and backed away from there where the snake had been back toward the palace. Even though it was totally gone, I still wasn't taking any chances and backed my way into the building. It took a few deep breaths and slaps to my own face. Why hitting yourself? Why hitting yourself? Okay, I'll stop. To get myself right in the head again after that. It took a few deep. Okay, I already read that. I looked for a place to sit down, as my legs were feeling a bit like jelly at this point. Of course, there was no place to sit down unless I wanted to recline in the broken glass and dead leaf carpet or haul myself up to a desk of questionable re- reliability. And this is a long pasta. Okay. I had seen the stairs near the palace lobby and decided to go take a seat there until I felt better. The staircase was far enough away from the front of. Okay. The staircase was far enough away from the front of the building to be relatively clean, save for the startling accumulation of dust. I pulled a wedge of metal off the wall, once again painted with the phrase, with the, you guessed it, abandoned by Disney motto. I've been accustomed to. I placed the wedge on the stairs and sat on it to keep at least somewhat clean. The stairway led downward, below ground level. Using my camera flash as a sort of improvised flashlight, I could see that the staircase ended in a metal mesh door with a padlock. A sign on the door, a real sign, read, Mascots only. Thank you. This perked up my spirits a little bit for two reasons. One, a mascots only area would have definitely had some interesting stuff back there back in the day. Two, the padlock was still there. Nobody had gone down there. Not the vandals, not the looters, nobody. This was the one place I could actually explore, perhaps find something interesting to photograph or wantonly steal. Okay. Remember, kids, do not steal. I had come to the place essentially agreeing with myself that it was okay to take anything I wanted because, hey, abandoned. Okay. It didn't take much to bust the lock. Okay, first off, he's gonna first. Okay, here's how it's going now. First, he just wanted to go to Mowgli's palace. Next, he said he just wants to take a few pictures. Next, he's gonna steal something, and now he's breaking and entering. Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, if you think about it, he's already gone past breaking and entering. Well, actually, that's wrong. No, so that's the next thing. I didn't plan that. Well, actually, that's wrong. It didn't take much to bust the metal plate on the wall that the padlock was hooked to. Time and decay had done the most of the work for me, and I was able to bend the metal plate enough to pull the screws out of the wall. Something nobody else had apparently thought of or had been able to do at the time. The mascots only area was a startling and very welcome change from the rest of the building I'd seen. For one, okay, sorry, I'm on lookout for more kids. Okay, that sounded weird. For one, every second or third fluorescent light overhead was illuminated, even though they flickered and faded randomly. Also, nothing had been stolen or broken, even if age and exposure were definitely taking their toll. Tables had notepads and pens. There were clocks, even a punch-in clock on the wall, complete with filled-out time cards. Chairs were scattered around, and there were there was even a small break room with an old stag-filled television and long rotted out food. Ugh, and long rotted out food and drink on the counter. Oh, that's quite something. That's something to smell and imagine. Ugh, that makes me sick. This is what I go through, guys. I I read it so you don't have to, even though that's what nostalgia shade does. It was like one of those post-apocalyptic okay. It was like one of those post-apocalypse movies where everything is left in the state of evacuation. As I walked the maze-like sub-basement hallways of the mascots only area, the sights just became more and more interesting. As I went further, desks and tables were knocked over, papers scattered and almost meddled with the damp floor, and a large carpet of mold. Oh, come on. What is it with making me imagine gross stuff? Ugh. And a large carpet of mold was slowly overtaking the real rotting crimson floor covering. Okay, seriously, author, I like that you want me to imagine stuff, but not stuff like this, especially when I had like a Kit Kat bar. Everything was just sort of squishy. Anything would disintegrate it into mush when I applied even the least amount of force. And clothing items hanging on hooks in the rooms were and wait on hooks in one of the rooms simply fell onto moist threads if I tried to unhook them. Okay then. One of one thing that I don't see anyone. Well, I didn't. Hmm. One thing that annoyed me was that the light was becoming more sparse, okay, and unreliable. And as I went further into the dank, I'm not gonna make a dank joke because you guys should do that in the comments below. It would help if I actually like post this. So I should have done this in the beginning, but I was too lazy to do it. Oh, I forgot. Forgot I have a something. I'm going to be posting something later. Just a minute. I'm going to also post it. Yeah, post it. Yes, post is now a word. Post it on my Twitter as well at Theodore5. That's a shameless plug. Oh, for Pete's sake, Jeff. Just a minute. Oh God. And another one for the bull crap creepypasta story time. A close encounter with Tails doll from Yuri of Wind. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Uh, okay. Okay. One thing that annoyed me was that the light was becoming sparse and unreliable as I went further into the dank, suffocating depths of of the palace. It says place, but I don't care. Eventually, I reached a black and yellow striped door with the words "Character Prep 1" stenciled on it. The door wouldn't open at first. I figured this was probably where the costumes were kept, and I definitely wanted a photograph of that twisted, stinking mess. Jeez. Try as I might, whatever angle or trick I tried, the door wouldn't budge. That that is until I gave up and started walking away. That was when there was a slight pop popping sound, and the door creaked slowly open. Inside the room was completely dark, pitch black. I used the camera flash to look for a light switch on the wall by the door, but there was nothing. As I made my search, I was jarred uh, out of my sense of excitement by a large electrical buzz. Rows of light overhead suddenly flashed to life, flickering and fading in and out like the rest I had passed. It took a second for my eyes to adjust, and it seemed like the light was going to just keep getting brighter until all the bulbs exploded. But just when I thought it would reach that critical stage, the lights dimmed a bit and steadied. The room was exactly as I had pictured it. Various Disney costumes hung on the walls, fully put together like strange cartoon cadavers hung from the invisible. Okay, I like the imagery this guy is going, especially the line fully put together like strange cartoon cadavers hung from invisible nooses. Okay, that's weird even for my standards. There was an entire rack of loincloths and native clothes on hangers toward the back. What I found odd and what I wanted to photograph. Jeff is tweeting at me. Sorry, it's we're having a tweeting war in a way. Okay. What I found odd and what I wanted to photograph right away was a Mickey Mouse costume at the center of the room. Unlike the other costume, it was lying on its back in the center of the floor like a murder victim. The fur on the costume was rotten and shedding. Ugh. Creating bare patches. I'm glad it wasn't a real mouse. Ugh. Which was even what was even more odd, however, was the coloring of the costume. It was like a negative of the actual Mickey Mouse. Black where he should be white, white where he should be black. His normal red pants were light blue. Okay, I know what you guys are gonna probably say in like the live stream bots, live chat, and the not the description, but the comment section. This creepypasta inspired Five Nights at Treasure Island, I think. It's a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. So I think that's what it's called, which made sense because the description of this negative mouse, I'm just gonna call him that because negative Mickey Mouse sounds weird. The Nega Mouse, yes, like an evil Mickey Mouse. The basically the description the author put black where he should be white, vice versa for the black with white pant, the light blue pants instead of red. Let's see, Treasure Island. Let's see. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Apparently there's a hidden character. Yeah, the photo negative Mickey, and The only thing that's different is the. Okay, you guys should just look it up because I'm supposed to be reading, not doing this. Um. Anyway, the sight was off-putting enough that I actually postponed photographing the thing until last. I took a picture of the costumes hanging on the walls, upward angles, downward angles, side shots to show an entire row of frozen, putrid, cartoon faces, some with plastic eyes missing. Okay, again, that's quite an image. Then I decided to stage a shot. Just one of the bed bedraggled. What's bedraggled mean, Mom? Bedraggled. Uh, okay, time to use my good friend Google. Dirty and disheveled. Okay, that made sense because of the whole thing. Then I decided to stage a shot. Just one of the bedraggled character heads on the slick, grimy floor. Okay, author, what is wrong with you? This is what I put myself through. I have no one to blame but myself. I reached for the headpiece of a Donald Duck costume and carefully removed it so the thing wouldn't fall apart in my hands. As I looked into the face of the wide-eyed, moldering head, a loud clattering sound made me jump with fright. I looked down at my feet, and there between my shoes. Okay, here's the first jump scare, apparently. I looked down at my feet, and there between my shoes was a human skull. Perfect. It had fallen off the mast I had and shattered into pieces at my feet. Only the empty face and lower jaw remained, staring up at me. Okay, it made me. Oh. Now I know what the skull came from. I dropped the duck head immediately, as you'd expect, and moved for the door. As I stood in the doorway, I looked back to the skull on the floor. I had to take a picture of it, you know? I had to. For any number of reasons that may seem silly, but only if you don't think it through. No, no one's there. Yeah. Okay, what was I? Oh yeah. I need proof of what happened, especially if Disney was going to somehow make this go away. I had no doubt in my mind, right from the start, that even if it was just gross negligence, Disney was responsible for this. Okay, this sounds like a court case. Anyway, this was why the resort had closed, and I was the only one outside Disney Co. who knew. Me. That's when Mickey, that photo negative opposite Mickey in the floor, started to get up. Oh, okay. First sitting up, then climbing to its feet. The Mickey Mouse costume, or whoever was inside of it, stood there at the center of the room. Its fake face had just staring directly at me as I mumbled, "No," over and over. With shaking hands, a violently thrashing heart, and legs that had once again turned to jelly, I managed to lift the camera and aimed it. Okay, it's Dad and Charlie Chris. Okay, I managed to lift the camera and aim it at the opposite creature, now quietly sizing me up, head tilted. I thought it was 10. 10 to 15 minutes. The digital camera's screen displayed only dead pixels in the shape of the thing. It was a perfect silhouette of the Mickey costume. As the camera moved in my unsteady hands, the dead pixels spread, marrying the screen wherever Mickey's outline moved to. Then the camera died. Went black and quiet and broken. I raised my eyes once again to the Mickey Mouse costume. Hey, it said in a hushed, perverted, but perfectly executed Mickey Mouse voice. Want to see my head come off? Ugh. Okay. I did not want to hear that. It started to pull at its own head, working its clumsy, glove-clad fingers around its neck with clawing, impatient movements similar to a wounded man trying to pull himself free of a predator's jaw. As it worked its digits to its into its neck, so much. Okay, this is weird even for my standards. As it worked its digits into its neck, so much thick and curdled yellow blood. Oh, I'm gonna need a drink to that. That's. I turned away as I heard a sickening tearing of cloth and flesh. Okay, that's gross. Only cared about getting away. Above the doorway, out of this room, I saw a final message. Clawed into. Cool. I see that. Above the door. Okay, above the doorway, out of this room, I saw the final message clawed into the metal with bone and fingernails. Abandoned by God. I never got the pictures out of the camera. I never wrote the blog entry about it. After I ran from that place, fled for my sanity, if not my very life, I knew why Disney didn't want anyone to know about this place. They didn't want anyone like me getting in. They didn't want anything like that getting out. And that's abandoned by Disney. Okay then. That it was weird. It's a good it's a good pasta, don't get me wrong. But weird. Oh wait, wrong person. I I mean it's a very good pasta. Uh I mean I'm gonna be you know what, I'm going to be posting the last thing that is seen, which is the photo house onto my Facebook page, Theodore Hodel, and my Twitter at TODL5. Hey, Dad, look at that. It's a photo negative Mickey. And the one of the last things that is said, Dad, I'm just gonna, guys, I'm gonna be reading this to my father. I turned away as I heard a sickening tearing of cloth and flesh, only cared about getting away. Above the doorway, out of this room, I saw the final message clawed into the metal with bone or fingernails. Abandoned by God. And all throughout this pasta, it's not abandoned by God. It's abandoned by Disney. But you gotta admit, that's pretty terrifying though, right, Dad? The picture? Okay, once again, I'm going to be posting this on my Facebook page. I gotta. Oops, not Theodore Wright. I don't even know who Theodore Wright is. A blogger. Okay, I'm trying to get to it, but okay, just a minute. I'll do that later. Seriously, that is. Peanut, mommy wants you. Okay, so that was abandoned by Disney. A very good pasta, but does it hold up? Yeah, it's very terrifying. I mean, unlike with Sonic.exe, which had jump scares all the time, it's a two candy bars or three. I don't know. I should so. Unlike with Sonic.exe, which had a lot of jump scares, this was psychological terror. So let's go to channel 0.
Looking at her face, I was like, I know the base. I was like, what's the name? And I just truly was at a loss.
Okay, so okay, channel 0 seems to be like a very short pasta. Now, unlike with Abandoned by Disney, Campbell Cove, and Ben Drowned, I've never heard of Channel 0, and apparently on the Creepypasta wiki, its only category is video games. Yeah, 2 video game pastas. Usually, I think he wants to sleep in it. Why?
Because they're in clothes. I want to get them.
Oh, I didn't know they were in clothes. I actually didn't. Okay, anyway,
In a little bit.
let's start Channel 0. Zip, zero, nada. Hey. Dad looked interesting. He was jumping a minute ago. Like, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's start Channel 0. It was the winter holiday, and my family was visiting for December. One of my favorite pastimes was playing video games with my cousins. We weren't a well off family, so we would often play older games on what seemed like an antique television. Switching on the TV, it immediately cut out with a flash. The TV died. Well, crap, that must be bad. We decided to go into town and get a replacement the following day. Visiting a few pre-owned electronics stores, we chanced upon a curious little set. It looked about 10 years old. It was I was pretty sure it was still. I was pretty sure it still worked. There we go. I cannot talk today. Okay, anyway. I was pretty sure it still worked, so I took the chance. When my cousins and I got back to my place, we set it up and checking with channels worked. I found in the remote compartment it still had its original warranty, which expired on the 31st. Ha! Mom, no joke. One of the lines in this pasta, it still had its original warranty, which expired on the 31st October 2003. I did not plan that, to be honest. I did not plan that, guys. That amused me. The TV channels were crap, despite the set having its own aerial. We soon learned all the channels had snowy reception, except for Channel 0. Oh, which was for video input. Okay. I played some multiplayer games with the cousins for a while. They had since gone home when I moved on to some more atmospheric games. I loaded up Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. To those unfamiliar with the game, it's a horror game based around the effects of it's a horror game based around the effects of the protagonist's mental health. Okay, I'm slurring now, so I'm gonna have to. Okay. The very instant I powered up the game, there was a flash of lightning followed by some thunder outside. I thought nothing of it, as it had been raining on and off throughout the day. Just a minute, guys. I'm going to get something to eat. Just imagine there's music in the background, or better yet, put some music on. Just saying. I'm going to make my popcorn, Mom. The last 2 bit. We have more company. And it's it's a Nightmare Freddy. Pippa, what is it? That's a cool costume. I like your costume. One of my brothers is going as Nightmare Freddy.
Oh, you like play Five Freddy?
So when I get the chance, yeah. I had the first 3 games on my tablet.
That's cool.
Yeah. That is a cool costume, right?
Teddy, you need to take your meds.
I will.
Well, it's after 7.
I know. I will.
Here, take your socks off. Bobby, can you turn the socks off? Bobby, Bobby, can you take your socks off, please? So you can wear them to school tomorrow.
Okay, guys, I'm back for about 3.5 minutes to put the second bed in. Okay, where was I? Admittedly, I was new to this game, so my character died a few times to begin with. The sky crashed with thunder and lightning outside. But what was really strange was that I could swear the TV started to leak a bit from the top corner of the screen. I wiped it away, and the tissue revealed a wet, red substance. What was this? Blood? No. Maybe this was some kind of technical defect. Mom, when does trick or treating end? 8? Only. Okay, anyway. I, okay. Maybe this was some kind of a technical defect. But why red? I played more of the game and my character died a few more times. The TV started to leak again, but the fluid was a light green this time. I wondered if maybe the circuitry of the TV was melting from overheating. But the set wasn't hot when I touched it. The red could have come from the LED light or something. I never noticed I never noticed this problem when I played games with the cousins before. The light bulb in my room died. I thought about replacing it, but decided it might be fun to play in the dark. Yeah, this is gonna end well, people. I played more of the game, and my character's sanity was still quite high. A jumpscare flashed on screen of a skull with screaming eyes. At the very same time, a flash of lightning and thunder occurred outside. The sanity meter on screen had decreased to just over half, or under, depends on how you look at it. With all that was going on, I was pretty freaked out, but most by how the character's sanity seemed to mirror my own. I gave it a rest for a while. I paused the game to get myself a drink, like I am right now with water. I thought it odd how the sky flashed and thundered outside only as I played the game. I had a break from the game almost as long as I had been playing it, and yet nothing. No thunder or lightning. Not even once. Now we're halfway through, people. This is actually a short pasta. Now, most people don't like pastas, short, creepy pastas, but this one is actually pretty good. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna put the first bag of popcorn in the bowl, then put the second bag in. So, BRB.
One of us will be up in a few minutes to tuck you in. Okay.
Okay, guys, I'm back. I returned to playing the game and eventually ran into a group of living skeletons. I was doing well to hold them off, but they seemed to keep coming from nowhere. Eventually, they closed in on me, but they stopped. They stood there for a while before suddenly turning to the camera and screaming. Their scary, leering heads zoomed towards the screen. I jumped and screamed. Streamed, not screened. Yeah. The channel cut to static. It occasionally flashed between red and green colors and another streaming skull right up close. My door slammed shut. The window locked, and the curtains swiftly drew themselves together. I could not open either. And among the red and green flashing images on the TV, it suddenly cut to black with a subtle droning noise. Confused, I went up closed the screen. One final skeleton rushed towards the screen and screamed. The TV switched itself off. I was the most I was the most scared I had ever been. This was the kind of thing that only happened in my nightmares. Waking from sudden images and screaming sounds of dead silence. I got a torch and shone it off the TV on off switch. It didn't it didn't appear to be on or off, but as I tried to press it, it wouldn't move at all. I figured it was best to try and get some sleep. As impossible as that seemed, I eventually drifted off. I was awoken to a loud crash of thunder and lightning outside, with what seemed like a small earthquake starting up. The tremors grew rougher and louder to the point where even my bed couldn't stay still. The roof was shaking and all the tiles broke away to reveal a dark purple sky, with a black vortex cutting right through it. It pulled me into the void. All I could do was watch the house get smaller and smaller. And Dana. Okay, just a minute, guys. Okay. Anyway, where was I? The town's lights get dimmer and dimmer. Okay, where was I? I was pulled above a sheet of clouds and had trouble breathing. The clouds and purple sky faded, the color beneath my feet getting darker and darker until the glowing balls of light began to emerge. Choking profusely, I guess, I realized I was now in space. I turned around to see a skull as big as a planet. It screamed and zoomed.
It was crawling with malware and spyware, and he said it was even on there to copy down like passwords and everything.
Just a minute, guys.
Somebody was trying to steal information.
So, what, the USB I found? It was a good thing I didn't plug it in.
Yeah, Tommy even said, he goes, it was an excellent thing that you didn't plug it into my computer because it would have copied all my passwords and it would have gotten a hold of my credit card information.
I don't even remember. That's the thing. I don't remember having that type of USB. It's definitely a good thing. I'll be right back, guys. My second bag is done. Man, this channel 0 is really short, but I like short pastas. It's a psychological one, too. It's good.
What's wrong? you're miserable. Join me.
Yeah, move things around now. Okay, I got it. I'm back, guys. I turned around to see a skull as big as a planet. It screamed and zoomed toward me. That was the last thing I saw, or so I thought. I felt a sting in my arm before awaking in a bright white room. My arms crossed over each other. I was happy, so happy that I laughed, and laughed, and laughed, and laughed, and laughed. So that was Channel Zero. It was a short pasta, but it was a good one. I mean, it's. I've never played. I never played the game. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, but from what I have seen, YouTube videos on it. I mean, who hasn't? Well, some people haven't, but and this is a psychological creepypasta. Mom, kids. Yeah, Dad. We have 20 minutes left.
You let Pippa go. Pippa.
Anyway, Channel Zero is a psychological creepypasta. And I mean, there wasn't any jump scares. Well, okay, I can't say that because.
Is he okay? Oh.
Did you ask Mommy if you could have that? Ask.
You already have your candy. Out of the bowl.
I mean, there were some good pastas, but we still have two more.
Oh, Teddy, keep an eye on Chris. I gotta run out to the van for Dad.
Okay.
It's in the very back.
So, next up is one I actually
Yes.
have heard of. And
That's where I left it.
what?
A bottle of soda. Remember we picked up two?
Okay, it seems like
Should be back here.
it seems like Candle Cove is actually the first thing that is said for this is for this pasta is net nostalgia forum, so it's an internet forum, so that's one way to start it. What, Dad? I thought you did. Okay, now I'm just gonna read it, and also this is another short pasta. Huh. Seems like this is actually shorter than Channel Zero. Huh. Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove. And I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton. Okay, I don't know if that's a fictional city or a real place. Let's see. Ironton. Oh, it's actually a real place in Ohio. Huh. Okay. At the time, I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 p.m. Yeah, it is weird. It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. Okay, that I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. Looked like he was built from parts of other dolls, real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Okay, that's pretty scary. Looked like an antique. Um, but that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF though. Hey mom, what is WTSF? Because one of the things it said is I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Okay, it's a Virgil and UHF digital channel 44. Okay. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean. Sky Shale. That's the name of one of the characters. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was Channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughing Stock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. And there was a calliope music constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name, Janice or Jade or something. Think it was Janice. Thank you, Jaren. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the laughing stock in Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face, with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had that awful Ed Wine. Okay, I want to know that awful Ed Wine voice and laugh. Okay, I want to know who Ed Wine is now. Let's see, because the name sounds familiar. Okay, Ed Wine was in well, it's in Wonderland, Mary Poppins. Uh, Cinderella. Apparently, I don't know if it was like. Apparently, it was like a live action. Son of Flubber. Oh, he was in the Three Stooges. Ironically, he was also. I know, coincidentally, he was in Miracle on 34th Street. Okay. Anyway, I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head and talked. Ha ha, I remembered it now too, Winky Face. Do you remember this part, Sky Shield? You have to, you have to, you have to go inside. Hug Mike. I got chill reading that. Yes, okay, no joke, I did too. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was. And the camera would push in on Laughing Stock's face. You okay? And the camera would push in on Laughing Stock's face with each pause. You have to go inside. With his two eyes askew and that flopping foam jaw and the fishing line that opened and closed. Ugh, it just looked so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall, narrow teeth. I I honestly thought okay, honestly, seriously, two of them. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when this show was on. Nightmare Fuel. That wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache. That was the villain sidekick. Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he had only one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette, the Skin Taker. Oh god. I remember watching a video on this pasta, the Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then. Jesus, okay. Jesus H Christ, the Skin Taker. What kind of a kids show were we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on a screen, just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape, and his glass eyes that were too big for his skull. Christ almighty. And this is actually part of the pasta, not me just reacting to this, even though I am supposed to be reacting. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin? Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close, his jaw slid back and forth. I remember the little Jill said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the skin taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin." Okay, this is weird even for me. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended. The show faded in from black and all the characters were there. But the camera was just cutting to each of their faces and they were just screaming. And the puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically and just all screaming. Screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she had been through like she had been through hours of this. I had woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode. No, 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 not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place crying and screaming for the whole show. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said it, but I swear to God I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Oh God, yes, the little girl, Janice. I remember seeing her shake and the skin taker screaming through his gnashing teeth, his jaw careening so wildly I thought it would come off its wire hinges. I turned it off and it was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. Now this is the last post and the subject reply Candle Cove local kids show. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little in the early 70s when I was 8 or 9 and if she remembered a kids show, Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why. And she said, "Because I used to think it was so strange that you said, 'I'm going to go watch Candle Cove now, Mom.' And then you would tune the TV to static and just watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show." Okay, this is a very special creepypasta because it doesn't rely on it doesn't rely on jump scares, unlike with other pastas I've read. So that's Candle Cove, and let's wrap up Theodore Hodel's creepypasta marathon with one I've been wanting to do for a while now. Ben Drowned. Now this is actually the longest, and it's actually separated into. Now this is actually broken up into posts, which makes it the longest. I don't know when I'm going to finish this. I honestly don't, guys. So let's hope I don't get nightmares from this, even though I probably won't. Now, okay, I'm going to. Okay, I'm just gonna start with it. The pasta. Post number 1, September 7th, 2010. Okay, I need your help with this. This is not a copy pasta. This is a long read, but I feel like my safety or well-being could very well depend on this. This is a video game related, specifically Majora's Mask. Okay, before I'm just gonna quickly say I've actually played Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D for the 3DS, and I got it from GameStop. Eh, it's okay. Okay, just like it does. Mom, I don't know how many times this word comes up, but it's the F word. Then what am I supposed to say? But I want to read it entire.
That's a word I don't want you to say.
But you let me read the other words.
I let you say shit.
And hell.
Okay, those two are minor swear words. They're the fuck.
Fine. This is the creepiest. And this is the creepiest shit that has ever happened to me in my entire life. Having said that, I recently moved into my dorm room starting as a sophomore in college, and a friend of mine gave me his old Nintendo 64 to play. Right. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna be having to say frick a lot because the F word comes up 33 times. Oh joy. Okay, let's get this started. I was stoked to say the least. I could finally play all those games of my youth that I hadn't touched in at least a decade. His Nintendo 64 came with one yellow controller and a rather shoddy copy of Super Smash Bros. And while beggars can't be choosers, needless to say, it didn't take long until I became bored of beating up level 9 CPUs. That weekend, uh, that weekend decided to drive around a few neighborhoods about 20 minutes or so off campus, heading up the man, I cannot talk today. Hitting up the local garage sales, hoping to score on some good deals from ignorant parents. Okay, for some reason there's a parentheses, so that's weird. I ended up picking up a copy of Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, which in parentheses says frick yeah. I said frick. I know it sounds a lot like the F word, doesn't it? F-Zero and two other controllers for $2. Satisfied, I began to drive out of the neighborhood when one last house caught my attention. I still have no idea why it did. There were no cars around, and only one table was set up with random junk on it. But something sort of drew me there. I usually trust my gut in these things, so I got out of the car and I was greeted by an old man. His outward appearance was, for lack of a better word, displeasing. It was odd. If you asked me to tell you why I thought it was displeasing, I couldn't really pinpoint anything. There was just something about him that put me on edge. I can't explain it. All I can tell you is that if it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon and there were other people with shouting distance, I would not have even thought of approaching this man. He flashed a crooked smile at me and asked what I was looking for. And immediately I noticed that he must be blind in one of his eyes. His right eye had the glazed over look about it. I forced myself to look to his left eye instead, trying not to offend, and asked him if he had any old video games. I was already wondering how I could politely excuse myself from the situation when he would tell me he had no idea what a video game was. But to my surprise, he he said he had a few ones in a old box. He assured me he'd be back in a jiffy and turned to head back into the garage. As I watched him hobble away, I couldn't help but notice what he I couldn't help but notice what he was selling on his table. Littered across this table were rather peculiar paintings, various artwork that looked like ink blots that psychiatrists might show. Hey, Mom, The ink blot paintings, those are called Rorschach tests, right? Oh yeah, just like in Watchmen. Basically the Rorschach tests. Curious, I looked through them. It was obvious. It was obvious why no one was visiting this guy's garage sale. These weren't exactly aesthetically pleasing. As I came to the last one, for some reason, it looked almost like Majora's Mask. The same heart-shaped body with little spikes protruding outward. Initially, I just thought that since I was secretly hoping to find that game at these garage sales, some okay, you said I could say drop the S bomb, right? Okay, I just want to make sure because there's also the BS bomb. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. This is a long one. I'm just saying. So basically, whenever I read creepypastas, it's for YouTube. Okay. Okay. Some fruity and bullshit was projecting itself into the ink blots, but given the events that happened afterward, I'm not so sure now. I have I should have asked the man about it. I wish I would have asked the man about it. Yeah, if I was him, I'd like, hey sir, what's this weird Majora's Mask game that does that would be me, but hey. After staring at the Majora shaped block, oh, it was at the oh, I thought I was referring to a game. Okay, that's where it comes. Okay. First off, I would say, hey sir, if you don't know what a video game is, how do you know what this looks like? But hey, huh. Hey, I'll be right back, guys. There you go. Yep. I don't know. I actually don't know when I'm gonna finish this. So right when I'm done, I'm going to bed.
Taking your pills.
No, I'll take them right now. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Mom. Okay, guys, I'm back. After staring at the Majora-shaped block, I looked up and the old man was suddenly there again, arms length in front of me, smiling at me. I'll admit, I jumped out of reflex and laughed nervously as he handed me a Nintendo 64 cartridge. It was the gray standard, except that someone had written Majora on in black permanent marker. Okay, this is a cliche and all, but that's where I draw the line. If a cartridge has no label and it just says like whatever it is, like okay, I'm like sorry, dude, but nope, that's what I would do. But hey, I'm smart sometimes. Ugh. Wow. Mr. Creepypasta has already done one. He's doing Jeff the Killer, Scars of Corruption. I'm going to be reading that later, or watching it. I got butterflies in my stomach as I realized what a coincidence this was and asked him how much he wanted for it. The old man smiled at me and told me that I could have it for free. That it used to belong to a kid who was about my age, that didn't live here anymore. There was something weird about how the man phrased that, but I didn't really pay any attention to then. I was too caught up in not only finding this game but getting it for free. I reminded myself to be a bit skeptical since this looked like a pretty shady cartridge. There's no guarantee it would work. But then the optimist inside me interjected that maybe it was some kind of beta version or pirated version of the game, and that was all I needed to be back on Cloud 9. He was this close to realizing that he's gonna be. I'm not saying it. I'll leave that to later. I thanked the man smiled at me and wished me well, saying, "Goodbye then." At least that's what it sounded like to me. All the way in the car ride home, I had nagging doubt that the man had said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game. To my surprise, it worked just fine. And there was a file named simply Ben. Goodbye, Ben. He was saying goodbye, Ben. I felt bad for the man. Obviously a grandparent, obviously going senile, and I for some reason or another reminded him of his grandson. Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file, eyeballing it. I could tell that he was pretty far in the game. He had almost all of the mass and 3/4 of the 3 out of the 4 remains of the bosses. I noticed that he used an owl statue to save his game. He was on day 3 and by the stone tower temple with hardly an hour left before the moon would crash. Spoiler alert for a game that is just a minute. For a game that is let's see. For a game that's 17 years old. It's a spoiler alert for a 17-year-old game. I remember thinking that it was a shame that he had come so close to being the game, but never finished it. I made a new file named Linked out of tradition and started the game, ready to relive my childhood, not relieve. For such a shady-looking game cartridge, I was impressed at how smoothly it ran. Literally, just like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups here and there, like textures being where they shouldn't be, random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, but nothing too bad. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that at times the NPCs or non-playable characters would call me Link, and at other times they would call me Theodore. Just kidding. They would call me Ben. I figured it was just a bug, a fluke in the programming causing our files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out though after a while, and it was around after I had beaten the Woodfall Temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted Ben. I had intended to preserve the file just out of respect of the game's original owner. It's not like I needed 2 files anyway. Here's an idea. Why didn't you just finish the file Ben started? Hoping that would solve the problem. It did and it didn't. Now NPCs would call me anything, where my name should be in the dialogue. There was just a blank space. My save file name was still called Link, though. Frustrated and with homework to do, I put the game down for a day. I started playing the game again last night. Gained the lens of truth. Okay, just to warn you guys, I did not get too far. I mean, I got to the part where Link was freed from the Deku mask, and then I returned it to GameStop because it was buggy. I can't really explain why, but um, I getting the lens of truth and working my way towards completing the Snowhead Temple. Now, some of you hardcore Majora's Mask players know about the fourth day glitch. For those of you who don't, you can Google it. But the gist of it is that who don't, you can Google it. But the gist of it is that right as the clock is about to hit 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds on the final day. oh, oh man, that did not taste good. Kernel went down the wrong pipe. Yeah, it was just a kernel, not even popcorn. Anyway, uh, you talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you time it right, the countdown disappears, and you essentially have another day to finish whatever you were doing. Deciding to do the glitch to try and finish the Snow White Temple, I happened to get it right in the first try, and the time counter at the bottom disappeared. I don't think the fourth day glitch is in Majora's Mask 3D. I wouldn't know because I didn't try. However, when I pressed B to the telescope, instead of being greeted by the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora boss fight room at the end of the game, the Creepypasta area, staring at Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air above me, and the background music, which was regular for the area, but still creepy. Immediately, my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appeared here. Yeah, it was just a mask, right, guys? Wait. Oh, hey, movie critic. Okay, guys. As you can tell, movie critic is. I've never. He. I. He and I appeared in Toku Nation's 100 subscriber special. I forgot about my plan. Anyway, Skull Kid never appeared here. I tried moving around the area, and no matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying anything. Nothing would happen though, and this kept up around 60 seconds. Around the game, I thought the game had bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much. I was about to reach for the reset button, which you should have, or turned it off, or okay, here's what I would do. Turn off the N64, take the cartridge, and burn it! What text appeared on my screen? You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. I instantly recognized that text. You get that message when you get the room key from Anju at the. Okay, I don't know if I pronounced that right. At the Stockpot Inn. I do remember that place, I think. But why was it playing here? I refuse to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. I started navigate the room again, testing to see if that was some sort of trigger that enabled me to interact with something. Then I realized how stupid I was. To even think that someone could reprogram the game like this was absurd. Sure enough, Sure enough, 15 seconds later, another message appeared on the screen. And again, like the first one, it was already a pre existing phrase: go to the lair of the temple's boss. Yes or no? I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press and how the game would react. When I realized that I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white with the words "Dawn of a New Day." With the subtitles, I don't know what those are. I don't know what they are. There's a bunch of lines beneath that where I was ported to file. Wait, filled me with the most intense sense of dread and impending fear I had ever experienced. You okay, Dad? The only way I should describe the way I felt is having this feeling of inexplicable depression on a profound scale. I'm normally not a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling that I didn't even knew existed. It's just a twisted, powerful presence that seemed to wash over me. I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone version of Clock Town. I walked out of Clock Town, as you normally do when you start from day one, only to find that the inhabitants were gone. Usually, the fourth day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dog that runs around outside the tower. This time, they were all gone. What replaced them was the ominous feeling that there was something out there in the same area as me. What? Anyway, same area as me, and that it was watching me. I had 4 hearts to my name in the hero's bow, but at this point, I wasn't even considered my avatar. I felt that I personally was in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was the song of healing, ripped straight from the game itself, but played in reverse. Huh. The music would get louder, building up, so as if you should expect something to pop out at you. But nothing ever did, and the constant loop began to wear out on my mental state. Every now and then, I would hear the faint laugh of the happy match salesman. People like this guy, but he is freaking terrifying. I'm sorry, guys. He is terrifying. Just hearing that laugh, just quiet enough so that I wasn't sure if I was hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked in all 4 zones of Clock Town only to find nothing. No one. Textures were missing. West Clock Town had me walking on air, and the entire area felt broken. Hopelessly broken. As the reverse song of healing repeated for what must have been the 50th time, I just remembered standing in the middle of South Clock Town, realizing that I had never felt so alone in video games before. Okay, if you're getting annoyed at the reverse of the song of healing, just turn the volume off on the TV. Or better yet, as I said, take the game out of the console. If again, that's my popcorn. Sheesh. As I walked through the ghost town, I don't know whether it was the combination of the out of place textures and the atmosphere and the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted, but I was literally on the verge of tears and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something had gripped me here, and this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I tried leaving Clocktown, but Every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would fade to black and I would just zone into another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I wanted to escape, but I did not want to be here. But every time I played the Song of Time or the Song of Soaring, it would only say, "Your notes echo far," but nothing happens. By this point, it was obvious the game didn't want me to leave, but I had no idea why it was keeping me here. I didn't want to go inside the buildings. I felt that I would be too vulnerable there or to whatever I was terrified of. I didn't know why. Wait, I don't know why. But I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself at the laundry pool, I could spawn somewhere else and leave this place. As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that's when it happened. Link grabbed his head and the screen flashed for a brief moment of the Happy Mask salesman smiling at me. Not Link, me. With Skullkid's scream playing in the background, and when the scream returned, it was staring at the Link statue from of the song Elegy of Emptiness. I screamed at the thing, just stared back at me with a haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out and played this and back in Clocktown. And to my horror, seriously, Mom,
Seriously, buddy.
you
Consider payment for using my computer.
didn't have to make me use it.
What?
I didn't have to use it. You'd let me.
Yes, but it's considered payment.
And to my horror, the freaking statue followed me. And the only way I can compare this is like, hey, Mom, there's a reference to Doctor Who. This is this is like the weeping angels from Doctor Who.
Weeping angels.
You're welcome, right? There's your reference, your Doctor Who. They look like Slenderman, right?
No, they look like angels. Statues of angels.
Do I even want to know what they look like?
They look like angels.
Well, I want to see what they actually look like. I'm probably going to regret this.
When you look at them directly, they stand still in the shape of in their statuesque version. When you blink or you turn your back, when they move.
Kind of like an SCP. I'll explain after the stream. It's kind of hard to explain, really. Every so often, at random intervals, the animation would play of the statue appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or I don't even want to freaking say it, haunting me. By this point, I was on the verge of hysterics, but not even once did the thought of turning off the console occur to me. I don't know why. I was so wrapped up in it. The terror felt so real. I tried to shake the statue, but it would literally appear right behind me every single time. Link started to begin to make weird animations I had never seen him do before. He would flail his arms around or spasm randomly, and the screen would cut to the Happy Mask salesman smiling again for a brief moment before I face to face with that freaking statue again. I ended up running into the Swordsmaster dojo and ran back and ran to the back. I don't know why, but in my panic, I just wanted some kind of assurance that I'm not alone here. To my dismay, I found no one. As I turned around to leave, the statue cornered me in the cubby in the back. I tried attacking the statue with my sword, but to no avail. Confused and backed into the corner, I just stared at the statue, waiting for it to kill me. Suddenly, the screen flashed again to the Happy Mask salesman, and Link turned to face my screen, standing upright, mirroring the statue, looking at me along with his copy, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall was completely shattered while ran out of the dojo terrified. Suddenly, the game warped me to an underground tunnel, and the reverse song of healing queued up again, and I was given a brief moment to rest before the statue started, up, started appearing behind me again, this time aggressively. I could only take a few steps before it would summon behind me again. I hurriedly made my way out of the tunnel and peered in southern Clawtown. As I ran aimlessly in a sheer panic, suddenly a reddened wait, reddened stream? Wait, what? And the screen faded to black as day of new dawn of new day, and those lines, as I mentioned earlier, appeared again. The screen faded in, and I was standing on top of Clawtown with Stolkid hovering over me again, silent. I looked up, and the moon was back, looming just meters above my head. But the Skull Kid just stared at me hauntingly with that freaking mask. A new song was playing. The Stone Tower Temple theme played in reverse. Okay, that's become a cliche by now. In some sort of desperate attempt, I equipped my bow and fired off a shot at the Skull Kid, and it actually hit him. And he played an animation of him reeling back. I fired again, and on the third arrow, a text appeared saying, "That won't do any good." Hee hee. Okay, that was creepy even for me. Uh, there's still no comments. And I was picked up off the ground, levitating up on my back, and then Link screamed as he burst into flames, instantly killing him. I jumped when this happened. I had never seen this move used by anyone in the game, and Skull Kid himself didn't have any moves. As the death screen played, my lifeless body still burning, the Skull Kid laughed, and the screen faded to black, only to have me reappear in the same place. I decided to charge him, but the same thing happened. Link's body was lifted off the ground, but by some unknown force, and he immediately burst into flames again, killing him. This time, during the death screen, the faint sounds of the reverse song of healing, geez, that's also become a cliche, songs of healing, could be heard. On my third and final try, I noticed that there was no music playing this time. That all there wasn't an eerie silence. I remembered that in the original encounter with the Soul Dude, you were supposed to use the ocarina to either travel back in time or summon the giants. I attempted to play the song in time, but nothing. But before I could hit the last note, Link's body once again horrifically exploded into flames and he died. Oh man. Oh boy. As the death screen appeared neared its end, it began to chug, as if the cartridge was trying to process a lot of something. When the screen came to, it was the same scene as the first three, except this time Link was laying on the ground, dead in a position I had never seen in the game before. His head tilted towards the camera with Sculpted floating above him. I couldn't move. I couldn't press any buttons. All I could do is just stare at Link's dead body. After around 30 seconds of this, the game simply fades out with the message, "You've met with the terrible fate, haven't you?" before kicking you out of the title screen. Oh man, this is a long one. And I'm not even halfway done with this. Okay. Upon getting back to the title screen and starting again, I noticed my save file was no longer there. Instead of Link, it was replaced with "your turn." Your, which was in all caps. Your turn had 3 hearts, 0 masts, and no items. I selected your turn, and immediately when I did, I was returned to the clock tower rooftop scene of my Link dead and Skull Kid hovering over, with the Skull Kid's laughing loop over again and again. I quickly hit the reset button. When the game booted up again, there was one more save file added, below your turn, entitled Ben. Ben's file is right back where it was before. I deleted it at the Stone Tower Temple with the moon almost crashing. I turned the game off at that point. I'm not superstitious, but this is way too fricked up. Even for me. I agree. I have it I haven't played it all day. Hell, I didn't even get any sleep last night. I kept hearing the reverse song of healing music in my head and just remembering the sense of dread I felt exploring Clocktown. I drove back to the old man's house to ask him questions with a buddy of mine. No way I was going there alone, only to find that there was a for sale sign in the front yard. And when I rang the door, no one was home. So now I'm back here writing down the rest of my thoughts and recording what happened. Sorry if some of this has grammatical errors and whatnot. I'm running on no sleep. I'm terrified of this game. Even more so now that I relived it a second time writing this all down. But I feel like there's still some more of it that meets the eye. And there's something calling to me to investigate it further. I think Ben is something in this equation, but I don't know what. If I could get a hold of the old man, then I would be able to find answers. I need another day or so to recuperate before tackling this game again. It's already taken a toll on my sanity. Just like the guy from Channel Zero. Heyo! I feel like. Wait, on my sanity, I feel like. But next time I do this, I'm going to be recording my footage all the way through. The idea to record only came to me towards the end, so you see the last few minutes of what I saw, including sculpted and the elegy statue. But it's on YouTube here. I'm going to stay in this thread for a while longer before I fall asleep to answer any questions you guys might have, or hopefully listen to your ideas or theories to help me shed some light into this, or maybe things I should try to do. I think I'm going to play Ben's file tomorrow to see what happens. Maybe I was supposed to do that all along. Oh god, that scared me. Like, no joke, there was a. Like, no joke. I've been so wrapped up in the whole creepypasta reading that when there was a Facebook notification, I'm like, ah! Oh, where was I? Maybe I was supposed to do that all along. I don't believe in paranormal shit, but this is a little fricked up. Maybe. Okay, I'm gonna take a couple Kit Kat bars then. Or maybe this Ben guy is just a really good hacker slash programmer. I don't want to think about the alternatives if he isn't. That's the end of this copy paste. I'm hoping that maybe this some kind of running guide that the developers had and that other people had gone gagged or hacked copies of the game like this. This just really scares me. So that was post number 1, which as I said was September 7th, 2010. It's okay. I mean, anyway, let's do it. Let's start with post number 2, September 8th, 2010. Yeah, I'm going to quickly see how many posts there are now. September 7th. 12th. 5th. Huh. I might. Let's just get this over with. I'm going to post what happened and link the video footage. But last night, everything got too real for me. I think I'm done messing around with this. I passed out pretty much immediately after making that thread. But last night, that elegy statue, I had a dream about it. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream. Wait, am I quickly see? Okay, still no comments. Okay. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream, that I would be minding my own business when I'd feel. Okay. Jeez. I don't think Ben likes it when I talk smack about him. Oh man, I'm getting tired, but I want to finish this. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream. That I would be minding my own business when I'd feel my neck hair stand up on end. I would turn around, that thing, that horrible, lifeless statue would be staring with those empty eyes right at me, merely inches away. In my dream, I remember calling to Ben. Never stopped. Never before had I had a dream that I remember so vividly. But the important thing is, I did get some sleep, I suppose. Today, putting off playing games as long as I could, I drove back up that neighborhood to see if the old man came back. As I expected, the car was still gone and no one was home. As I was walking back to my car, the man next door, mowing the grass, killed the power to his lawnmower and asked me if I was looking for someone. I told him that I was looking to talk to the old man that lived here, to which he told me what I already knew. He was moving, trying a different avenue. I asked if the old man had any family or relatives I could talk to. I discovered that this old man had never been married, nor did he have any children or grandchildren through adoption. Starting, starting to become worried, I asked one final question. One that I should have asked from the beginning. Who was Ben? The man's expression turned grim, and I learned that 40 doors down, around 8 years ago on April 23rd, the man informed me that it was the same day as his anniversary. That's how he knew this specific date. There was an accident with a young boy named Ben in the neighborhood. Shortly after, shortly after his parents moved, and despite any further attempts to talk to the man to get more information, he wouldn't divulge anything else. I went back and started playing again. I loaded up the game and immediately I jumped at the title screen where the mask flies by. The sound that played was not the normal whoosh sound. It was something much more higher pitched. I pressed start and bracing for the worst. But just like the other two nights, your turn and Ben were displayed. Displayed, wow. I'm so tired I can't speak, guys. Truth be told, I looked at the Ben file earlier. It seemed to be fluctuate between display the owl save and not. I brought up the Ben file, hesitating for a moment, noticing that the stats were not the same as they originally were 2 days ago. It seemed like he had already completed the stone tower temple this time. Summoning my courage, I selected it. Hey, Peanut. Immediately, I was thrust into complete chaos. Sure enough, I was outside Stone Tower Temple. But that's about all that I was expected. The zone itself wasn't called Stone Tower Temple, but rather Stone. And by stone, I mean like the S and T together and the rest of basically S, T, and then O and E separated but with a space. And immediately, a dialogue box of complete gibberish that I couldn't make out greeted me. Lane's body was distorted. His back was cocked violently to the side, where his posture was permanently disfigured. Lane's expression was still almost monotonous. He had an expression on his face that I didn't recognize before. It was a blank look. I'll try, Mom. I I should have it done by then. Okay. He had an expression on his face that I didn't recognize before. It was a blank look. As if he was dead. As Link stood there, his body spasmed irregularly. Oh man, I cannot speak, guys. This is what I go through when reading creepypastas. Back and forth, I examined what had become of my avatar, and I noticed I had a C button item I'd never seen before. Some kind of note, but pressing it did nothing. Sounds played back and forth when I didn't recognize from the game, almost demonic in nature. And there was some kind of a high pitched yip, or some kind of laugh, or something played in the background. I had all of 2 minutes to take in the environment before another one of those frickin' elegy of emptiness statues was summoned, and immediately after I was cut into the dawn of the new day screen, except this time it was without the line subtext. I was a Deju scrub in Clottown. This scene would normally play after the first time you travel back in time. Tad will say, "What? What just happened?" It's as if everything has, but instead of saying "started over," She finished her remark in broken text as the laugh of the oh boy, as the laugh of the happy mask salesman played in the background. And people like this pasta. I mean, it's really good. Don't get me wrong, but I'll get to that after. I was put back in control of my character, but from a fricked up camera angle. I was looking from behind the door of the clock tower, watching my avatar run around as the day crew drop. Seeing as how really I had no place to go because I couldn't go see anything, I begrudgingly went inside the door. There, I was greeted by the happy mask salesman who simply told me, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" But before the screen whited out. Just a minute, guys. I was in Termina Field as a human again. Might as well not have been playing the same game anymore. I was being warped around, and there was no sign of a day clock or anything. I took a moment to get my bearings as I looked around the field, and immediately I could tell that this was not normal. There was no. Just a minute. Oh man, my no joke. I may be drinking water, but my throat was dry. Anyway, where was I? There were no enemies, and a twisted version of the Happy Mask Salesman's theme was playing. I decided to run towards Woodfall before I noticed a gathering of three figures off to the side. One of them being Epona. As I approached them, to my horror, I saw the Happy Mask Salesman, the Skull Kid, and the Elegy of Emptiness statue just standing there. That's four, though. No, guys, like that is actually four figures. Epona, Happy Mask Salesman, the Skull Kid, and the statue. That's four, not three. I figured maybe they were bugged out, but by now I told myself that I should know better. Nevertheless, I approached them carefully and found that Skull Kid was playing some kind of idle animation on loop. Same with Epona, and the Elegy of Emptiness statue was doing what it has been doing all along, just standing there eerily. It was the Happy Mask Salesman that scared me more profoundly than the other two. He too was idle, wearing that shit eating grin, but wherever I moved, his head slowly turned and followed me. I had not engaged in any dialogue with him, nor was I in combat with him. Yet his head still continued to follow my movements, reminded of my first encounter with the Skull Kid on top of Clock Tower. I pulled out my ocarina, to which the game never played the ding sound when you're supposed to play the ocarina, and tried a song I hadn't played. The Happy Mask Salesman's own song, and the song that had been playing on loop back in day 4.
The Song of Healing. I finished playing the song, and as I did, an ear-piercing shriek flashed on my TV. The sky immediately started flashing. The Happy Mask Salesman's twisted theme sped up, intensifying the fear inside me. And Link exploded into flames and died. The three figures stayed lit up during my death screen as I watched my lifeless body burn. I can't describe to you how sudden and terrifying the transition from eerie to terror is. You're going to have to watch the video if you want to see firsthand. That same fear that caused me to lose sleep 2 days ago started to grip me again. As I as as I was met with the text, you've met with you've oh my god. This is what happens when I read creepypastas. I can't talk. Okay. You've met with a terrible wait, what? I thought it was terrible. Okay, apparently it's horrible now. You've met with a horrible fate, haven't you? For the third time. Actually, if you think about it, that's actually the first because you said you've met with a terrible fate. There has to be some kind of meaning behind that. I had little time to ponder. I was immediately given another small cutscene of transforming into Zora, and I found myself in Great Temple Bay, hesitant but curious to see what the game had in store for me. I slowly made my way towards the beach, where I found an opponent wondering. I wondered why the game had decided to put her here. Was the game implying she was trying to get a drink? Unable to take the mask off, I decided that riding the steed wasn't the reason she was placed here. Suddenly, I realized that Epona kept neighing, and the way she was angled made it look like she was trying to just signal a point to me off in the distance. I was a, it was a hunch, but I dove into the Great Bay and started swimming. Sure enough, I almost missed it. I found something at the bottom of the ocean, one last elegy of emptiness statue. I went down to examine it, and suddenly my Zora started doing a choking animation. I had never seen a Zora do before, which didn't even make sense because Zoras can breathe underwater. Regardless, my, my character choked to death and died. And again, the statue was the only thing that was highlighted in my death. I didn't respawn this time. I was booted back to the main menu as if I restarted the console. Oh man. The press start screen was before me. I knew the only reason why it would put me here is because the save files had changed again. Taking a deep breath, I pressed start, and I was right. The new save file told me about bed. Now it made sense why the statue appeared when I was trying to go to the laundry pool. The game must have anticipated how I would have tried to escape the day 4 clock town. The two save files told me his fate. As I suspected, Ben was dead. He had drowned. Oh, great, I'm gonna get nightmares of this. Ugh. Ugh. The game obviously isn't through with me. It taunts me with new save files. It wants me to keep playing. It wants me to go further. But I'm done with this shit. I'm not touching any more of the files. This is already way too horrifying for me, and I don't even believe in the paranormal. But I'm running out of explanations. Why would someone send me this message? I don't understand it. I just get too depressed thinking about this. The footage is up here for those who want to see it and try to analyze it. Maybe there's some kind of coded message in the gibberish or something symbolic and what I went through. I'm too emotional and drained to frickin' screw with it anymore. Post number 3 is actually the shortest, it looks like. I know it's early. Post number 3, September 10th, 2010. I know it's early in the morning. I've stayed up all night. I can't sleep. I don't care if people see this. That's not the point. I just want the word to get spread so I don't suffer for nothing. I've lost the will to type about I've lost the will to type about this. The less I dwell on this, the better. I think the video just speaks for itself. I did what you guys told me to do. I played the Elegy of Emptiness song at the first prompt by the game I was given, but I think that's what the game or been. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I'm even humoring the absurd idea that he exists in the game. Wanted me to do. He's following me now, not just in the game. He's in my dreams. I see him all the time behind my back, just watch me. I haven't gone to any of my classes. I've stayed in my dorm room with windows closed and blinds shut. That way I know he can't watch me. But he still gets me when I play. When I play, he can still see me. The game is scaring me now. It talked to me for the first time. Not just using text. It's already in the game. It spoke to me. Talked to me. It referenced Ben. It talked to me. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it wants. I never wanted this. I just want my old life back. Stuff like this doesn't happen to people like me. I'm just a kid. Not even old enough to drink yet. It's not fair. I want to go home. I want to see my parents again. I'm so far away from home here at this school. I just want to hug my mom again. I just want to forget that the statue's horrible blank face. My original game file is back just the way I felt it before I was gone. I don't want to play anymore. I feel like something bad will happen if I don't. But that's impossible. It's a video game. Haunted or not, it can't hurt me, right? Like, seriously though, it can't, right? That's what I keep telling myself, but every time I think about it, I'm not so sure. Okay, during that whole post, like, especially in the second part, like, he's just a kid. I really feel bad for him. I mean, all throughout this post, I'm probably gonna feel bad for uh, the writer. Okay, post number 4, September 12th, 2014. Let me just clear things up. I know you guys are worried are worried, but Jarduzable is okay. He finished moving out today, and he said he's going back home. He's just taking the semester off. I'm not really sure what's happened. I have a vague idea, but you guys probably know more than I do. I'm Jadu's roommate, and obviously I knew something was wrong with him for a few days now. He stayed in his room all the time and fell out of contact with literally all of his friends. And I'm pretty sure he hadn't been eating hardly anything. After the second day, I couldn't stay in there anymore. So I've been crashing at a buddy's place, only coming into my room so I could get what I need. I tried talking to him several times, but he would cut me off or keep the conversation brief when I asked him about his strange behavior. It like it's like he was convinced something was hurting him or hunting him. Well, in a way, something is. Yesterday, I came to grab my physiology book, and he approached me, looking awful, like horrible bags under his eyes. He handed me a flash drive and gave me specific instructions. He told me that he needs to go. He needs me to do one last favor for him. He finally explained to me what has been going on. He gave me the account info to his YouTube account and told me that he's getting away from here. That it lured him to play again instead of trying to change things, and that he shouldn't have done that. And to upload the footage and inform people what happened. I told him that he could do it himself, and he got this wild look in his eye and told me that he was never looking at that game again. And that's the last thing he said to me. He never even said goodbye when his parents came to pick him up. I never even got to meet his parents. I honestly can't tell you what happened. When he spoke, it was kind of hard to understand him, and his really messed up appearance really distracted him. On the flash drive, there was the footage of the game last night, a text document with his last name and password for YouTube, and a third document called the truth.txt, containing what he told me were his notes that he'd taken. He told me that this meant everything to him, that I followed his instructions exactly. Normally, I wouldn't be so to the letter for a request over a messed up video game, but the way he spoke and the way he looked. Wait, what? Oh man, I'm tired. Okay. But the way he spoke and the way he looked made me know this was really serious. And I'm going to honor that. I've had this video since yesterday, but had to have someone help me use pencil. That's not really my forte. That after watching it, I had to go back through and look at his other videos. Okay, that after watching it, I had to go back through and look at his other videos on his YouTube account to realize what was going on, and even then, I'm really confused. The video I'm releasing tonight, the truth.txt, will be released on September 15th, just like he requested. I haven't dared peek at it yet, so the first time I see it will be the first time you see it, out to respect my friend. To answer your question, no, I haven't tried calling him yet. I think I'll give him a call tomorrow to see if he's okay or not. He should have gone back home by now. About the video in this video, I cut straight to when he loaded the Ben file in the game. Ugh. Looking back, I realized that Judizable left the save select screen and because it said different names sometimes, so my bad for that. But all it said this time was the same at the end of his last video. Lincoln Ben, nothing different. I wasn't there when he played it, but it looks to me like in the beginning when he first spawns, he's testing out his equipment or seeing what items he has or something because apparently they've changed randomly before. After that, I was just thinking the game got too personal for him. I'm just gonna take a short break, guys. Oh man. Okay, so this is the last post, but it's the longest one ever. So let's start it. Hey guys, Judizable here. This will be the last time you'll be hearing from me, and this is my final gift to you. These are the notes that I have been taking, and the realization I've made. Before I delve into this, I want to thank you for following me and thank you for listening. It feels like the weight of a powerful burden is about to be lifted. By the time you read this, I won't be around anymore. But after spending 4 days with this maddening game, I've begun to understand what's really at play here. And hopefully, after reading this, we can ensure that this never happens again. Oh dear, he's dead. Joe Dismal is dead, guys. There there are things that I could not share with you while this was going on due to circumstances to which I'll explain. While Ben was with Ben blocking any attempt I made to try and relay the truth to you, I tried ever so subtly to warn you guys in various ways. Amidst the chaos and delirium, I devised a, um I devised and made a barely noticeable pattern in my videos. In all 5 videos I decided I recorded over the 4 days, I have either had the master of truth interacted with the gossip stone, or the lens of truth equipped at the same point. For you Zelda enthusiasts, these are the symbols of honesty and trustworthiness. I would hope that one of you have picked up on the reference. I played the game file, which I would name Ben, being mindful of how Ben was watching over my every move in the game. I never equipped the lens nor the mask nor visited a stone. It worked and the video was uploaded. I pray that someone would notice the pattern didn't apply to Ben. The Chads followed suit too. I hope you guys paid attention to those as well. They were my little message to you. Nothing big that enough to would catch Ben's attention or make him suspect anything. With Ben's manipulating and changing my files, I honestly hope that what you guys saw was close to what actually happened, but there is no way for me to know. This may be a long read, but I don't have to proofread or anything. All my research pretty. But here it all is. Now this, okay, I gotta agree with the author here. It is pretty long, guys. So, let's do it. September 6th, 2010. Can't believe what happened. Not sure if this is some kind of elaborate hoax. Just despite the fear, I can't help but be exceptionally curious about this. Who or what is the statue? Lots of questions here. I signed in this document as a quote unquote diary so I could keep track of everything. I'm typing up a summary of what happened so I could come back to it later. 2:10 a.m. September 7th, 2:10 a.m. Summary was posted here. You should go back and look at my first post for day 4.wmv for that. I can't sleep. I've been trying so hard, but the harder I try, I get more restless. I just feel like that statue is appearing whenever I close my eyes. Ugh, same here. I know. Okay, no, that's just Tenkuchi Takaru speaking. I didn't sleep at all. Just going to start my day. I don't think I have the energy to go to class today. I'm going to drive back down to talk to that old man, taking my buddy Tyler with me just in case. Back home now. No sign of the old man. Really weird that he appears to be moving the next day. But maybe the for sale sign was up there yesterday and I just didn't notice it. Tyler wants to know what's got me all worked up. I didn't tell him. Going to feel like death. Never mind. Could have sworn driving back from Subway that I saw the elegy statue buried in some shrubbery staring at me go by. Now I definitely need sleep. Don't think a lot of people would believe me if I told them about what's happening. Think I'm going to try posting this on the internet. Think I'll just use the summary. Just a minute, guys. Think I'll just use this summary. These notes are pretty sporadic. Connected my capture card to my computer to upload footage. Thought my computer froze for a second. Maybe this strange popping sound when I made this strange popping sound when I hooked everything up. But now it seems to be working fine again. My computer can't die on me now. Footage is finished uploading. The quality is a lot better than I thought it would be. Gee, just as really is a really special cartridge. I've never had it come through this clear before. Are we, are we sure this isn't a ROM hack? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll go. Thought I saw an icon pop up on my desktop that looked like the statue's face for a split second. Gave me quite a stare. You're really unnerved and delirious. I'm ready to crash after this. Began uploading my YouTube video on an alternate account. I don't remember having uploaded a Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines video last year. Huh. This was probably the account that I shared with a friend of mine last summer. I hope he doesn't mind me using it here. Posting my summary of day 4 with a link to the YouTube video. Going to try to stay awake, but I'm so tired right now. September 8th, 2010. I had a dream about the statue. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream. That I would be minding my own business when I... Wait a minute. Okay, first off, I already read the 10:48 a.m. part. I really don't want to play this game again. I think I'm going to go back to see if that old man's there instead. No old man, but I had an interesting conversation with his neighbor. I'll post the full thing with my summary of tonight's attempt at playing the game. Going to wait for a bit though and see if can't dig up any information on this Ben guy. I've been getting random inexplicable headaches due to the lack of sleep and cheap hearing that's hung in my head. Also, it's flu season, so I need to be careful not to get sick. My immune system is going to be shit right now because of all that all-nighter. My computer just, on its own, opened up a text document and wrote the words hi and www.cleverbot.com by itself. What the crap? I went to the website. It's one of those bot chatting programs. I think it's best if I just let the conversation speak for itself. Hello, hello. Now, the second hello is Cleverbot. Who is this? How are you able to control my computer? Who am I? Right, forget you're a bot. Do you really think that? Listen, I know whoever is messing with my computer can see my screen right now. Yes. Yeah, and I'll wager that you're one of those kids who think he's tough shit. Okay then. You know what? You're doing right You know what you're doing right now is illegal, right? Is it? No shit. Are you familiar with the terms invasion of privacy? Get the heck off my computer, kid. I am your computer. Cool story. Anyway, I'm calling DPS. You picked a bad time to mess with me, kid. Should I wait till until you play the game then? What? That game? Majora's Mask? Yes. How did you know about that? Because. Because what? I did it. Did what? I played with you. Okay, that's not. I think the author should word that a little better. What the heck? Are you scared? Who the heck is this? Ben. The statue? You're inside my computer now? Yes. How? You connected me. How the hell did I connect you? Cables and cords. How? Tell me about yourself. What? Tell me about yourself. What do you mean? What is it? What is it that really scares you? What the heck? Answer. No. Answer. What the heck? How the heck did you just open that by yourself? I am your computer now. How can you how much can you control? Oh, what do you mean from what do you want from me? To entertain. You're stuck inside there. You can't hurt me. How? Question mark. Go play. No, you can't hurt me. Took you longer to type that. So? You're not sure. If you're so powerful, why use a ridiculous website this to chat with someone? That's messy. More structured. Fun. Fun. Yes. Tradition. I like it. You think that's funny? Amusing. In my notes? You may write them down. Why are you letting me? It is amusing to see what you think of me. Window closes. What have I done? I've invited it into my computer. I continue to write these notes, write my summaries. I feel like I'm a prisoner in my one place of security. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hallucinating or not. I feel like I'm going insane right now. I can feel it watching over me. Even as I type this, Ben is controlling everything in the game, toying with me, leading me like sheep. But for what? What's the purpose? I know Ben drowned. Why these hauntings? What the heck am I even doing? I could possibly even see this right now. Ben called me to Cleverbot again. He tells me that he's not sorry and he wants to be free. Oh wait, he tells me that he's sorry and wants to be free, and that I could free him just like how he got to my computer from the capture card. He can spread, but he needs my help. He says I am special because I can help him. That is the first thing he said. That is the first nice thing he said. He promises to leave me alone if I do it. He swears he will. I don't know what to think right now. How can I even trust this thing? I'm terrified of it. But now it's saying that it was just having fun. The twisted and messed up version of fun. He says that the game is over. I do want it to be over. He says that he just wants to be freed, that he's trapped in the cartridge in my computer and he wants to be freed. I don't want to have to deal with this shit. I don't know how long I can deal with the watching. It's been watching my every move, every keystroke, I have nothing private anymore. It knows everything that's been on my computer. It tells that if it wanted it to do, it could do horrible things to me. But hasn't, wait, hasn't, but hasn't, so I should trust it. Nothing tells me that I'm being played again, just like in the game. Ben called me to Cleverbot again. I ignored it when it went to take a shower. Right, I ignored it and went to take a shower. When I came to my laptop, I was welcomed with an image with an image elegy statue staring at me with those dead eyes. I don't want to talk to him. Screw you, Ben. I'm not talking to you. 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 I think it's been more than a half hour and the messages have stopped. Ben has stopped. I begin to think that Ben isn't confined to just my computer / cartridge. I'm beginning to feel something. It's hard to explain. I've never been spiritual, but there's something different about the air in my dorm room now. I'm beginning to see the elegy statue randomly as I see the internet and places I shouldn't. I'd be scrolling down and suddenly I'd be staring at a picture of the elegy statue. Always the elegy statue. I don't know how much of this I could take. September 9th, 2010. My worst fear is confirmed. Ben has tampered with the summary of ben.wmv. I looked at the summary that I posted on various forums for the ben.wmv file, and parts have been omitted. There's no mention of Ben existing outside the game. There is no mention of the Moon Children. How could he have been that quick to delete the post without me noticing? I wonder if maybe it appeared to him that I was posting everything, but in reality, Ben posted his own censored version. I'm going to ask Ben why he did it. He isn't responding to me on Cleverbot. It's just giving the generic responses it usually does. I'm just talking to a bot this time. I think Ben is mad at me. The Moon Children appeared in my dreams last night. They lifted up their masks to reveal their hideous, disfigured faces, maggots crawling on their orifices, I guess. Sudden black holes made where their eyes should be. A yellow smile that slowly grew bigger and bigger as they came closer to me. They told me they wanted to play. I tried to run from them, but the 4 children pinned me down to the ground with surprising strength. Over them stood the happy masked salesman, announcing that he had a new mask that he wanted me to try. In his spastic, sudden movements matching his in-game appearance, he took out a mask modeled off of someone's face that I couldn't recognize. A younger-looking face, and handed it to the Moon Children. They latched it on. Giggling, they latched it to my face, their horrible, broken bodies bouncing up and down, two of them held me down while the other two began to sew the mask onto my face. Okay then. I don't think I want to like continue doing this, guys. But this is freaky even for my standards. Um, I guess I really do have to finish reading this. I'm just gonna skip to I'm just gonna skip to the conversations. Answer me, Ben. Welcome back. What is the point of doing this? Why? Amusing to see. How? Fun to play, fun to toy with you. Makes you feel safe. Make you feel safe, I should say. Ellipses. I wonder how you would. I wonder how you would have reacted to what if I hadn't revealed myself and stayed hidden. Only doing little things to play with you. Close out your windows, turn off your computer, move your mouse by itself. Little things. Make you wonder if I'm there, but you never know. Give you the little hints that I am. I wanted to do something different with you. You did this before? You did this before? Yes, and I'll do it again. To who? Ben? Hmm? Did you know Ben? Won't tell that information to you. Okay, I'm gonna end it here, guys. I have a theory on what happens to Jeducible. The only way to like free himself from Ben was which is was to spread the curse of Ben drowned. Which is which would explain why he does. Because I'm sorry if I'm not making any sense, guys. I'm very tired. Um, but basically, I think Jeducible. Um, the reason Jeducible like uploaded the videos is so Ben is spread throughout the internet, basically like rings. So that's gonna be about it for tonight. This is Theodore. I ask you to like this video, share it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button while you're at it. And in the meantime, this is Theodore, sign out. Peace out.